Register them as compilations.
All right.
Excuse me one second. Hello. Good to see you. Our industry guest has arrived. You're going to have to stop me. Finish up where we left off. So, who's walked into the room is JJ and John, and we'll talk about music dealers, but thank you for welcoming them. And yeah, we get, I want you to know that I'm doing a mentoring session on Thursday at 11 a.m. over in the music department. They set up a little office for me downstairs there. So come by, ask some more specific questions about your thing. JJ Sheinkop, my buddy. Chairman of the board. JJ has provided professional financial advice for 14 years. He screens thousands of companies prior to initiating seed, venture, and later stage investments for institutional and HNW high net worth individuals in diverse industries from technology, emerging energy, real estate, as well as entertainment and media companies. He brings music dealers a high level of energy and information, an eye for details, and a wide network of highly respected professional contacts. He's currently president of Provest Portfolio Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor, and a board member of Intercultural Montessori Language School in Chicago. That's JJ. Sounds good. Here's John. John is the Vice President and Director of Operations for Music Dealers. John is the engine that makes Music Dealers' machine roll. As Vice President and Director of Operations, John is in charge of overseeing all daily company activities, including staff and creative direction. Prior to Music Dealers, John attended Columbia and founded his own successful and critically revered record label, which holds a catalog of 15 releases. John, like shele, hates cold weather, loves classic 90s hip-hop, Chicago's sports team, and buying sneakers. So if you want to grease the wheels with John, you go get a pair of sneakers and you send him a gift with a CD. How you doing? Hook me up.
Somebody actually sent me a resume today, and it was in a box and it had a bottle of whiskey in it too.
Really? That's crazy. Crazy. Okay, and a little bit about music dealers. Let me share this with you. Musicdealers.com is a full-service global music licensing website that connects independent artists and music producers to big-name clients and brands. With headquarters in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and London, staff includes music licensing and publishing veterans with 50-plus years combined experience.
Around that time, it was like the late 90s, so I was buying a lot of studio equipment and things of that sort, and just kind of started a recording studio out of my house. And again, back then, like a lot of people, like now everybody has a recording studio, but back then they didn't. So that's kind of like how I just dove into it. I started getting good at engineering, charging people for time, and that built up my network of artists, that sort of.
This is like what we're talking about, creating your own lane. You know, this is what he did, created his own thing. Okay, number 3. JJ, what was your first big break, the first great thing that ever happened to you?
It's kind of a tough question, but in the sense of, I think what this conversation holds. I think the biggest break was my first job. I went to work for a sales organization, and I think I was surprised that I got hired. I think there was half of me that I didn't know if I wanted to get serious at this point. I didn't know if I wanted to be showing up at in the morning and be basically 100% enveloped in it. And I think that that's a mistake that a lot of people make, is you kind of hold out for something that is more to your specific niche, and you pass up a lot of good opportunities. And I think that each time that you really find something that you can be passionate about for even a short period, even if it's not what you dreamed of, you're going to pick up something from that, and you're going to learn. And so I think for me, the big break was really taking a chance, deciding that I was going to get up early and sell something that seemed all right, but was outside of my big picture goals in life, and that worked out well, and one thing led to another, and you just meet people. So when you're busy, you meet people, and people take you in, take you closer. So
That's great. That's really great. And John, what was your first great grade? The first great thing that ever happened to you?
I would say that it was kind of like a small chain of events. So I was actually going to Columbia. And
But what year did you get Columbia, Leslie?
99 to 2001.
Cool.
Didn't finish, but I was here.
Welcome home.
90 some credits.
Columbia.
So I was going to Columbia at the time. I was running this small recording studio, and I met this hip hop artist named Quasar, and convinced him that I knew what I was talking about, and I had the ability to put out a record. So I actually signed this guy. We put out a record, and it went really well, and we sold like 10,000 CDs and 5,000 vinyl, and that led to leaving Columbia and touring the country and going overseas.
Wow.
Doing a lot of stuff with that record. And then because of the work I was putting in on that record, there was another hip hop artist in Chicago named Juice. And I started managing Juice then. And because of that relationship, I got to work with Timberlake, Kanye, and then we went on tour with Talib Kweli, Dilate Peoples.
Wow.
Of Quest.
Amazing.
But kind of all snowballed one particular project.
Cool. We're going to number 5. JJ, what qualities help you get to where you are? What qualities help you get to where you are?
I think finding things that I find are really interesting, digging into them, talking about them with other people, sharing ideas, and kind of shamelessly promoting something that I really believe in, because I figure that people put up a lot of barriers initially, especially where all of us are. We're kind of cold Chicago, and there's a personality that goes along with that. But ultimately, if you have something really interesting, and you can break through people's inhibitions, and you can actually turn them onto it. I think that that's something. I think that's the quality that really helped me to become, get to where I am today as a station.
Well, that's very gracious of you to say that. John, what qualities help you to get where you are today? Qualities.
I would have to say vision. I mean, ultimately what we're doing, like everybody that's in the entertainment space, is trying to do something that the odds are completely stacked against you. So, I mean, I feel like if I didn't have the vision that I had, I would have probably quit a long time ago. So it's kind of like assessing a situation or a problem and looking at it from the end, starting all the way at the end and like working backwards. And I think that's like when I really started thinking like that, I think that's when like success started to come. Rather than like looking where am I now, and it seems impossible to get to a certain point. So it's just having that vision, looking at the end goal, and kind of working backwards, calculating those steps.
These are really great answers. Now, we didn't collaborate prior to, we had a little bit of a chat about vision prior to you guys walking in the door, and it's just so refreshing to hear you say it the way you say it, because it helps to reinforce a prior dialogue that we were having.
It's so extremely important because like 9 out of 10 people you meet are going to tell you why you can't do something. And you constantly get that negative energy and those negative thoughts in your head. You're going to start telling yourself like, oh yeah, I probably can't do this. And that's like when things will completely start to mess out. So not to like get over the top like philosophical, but yeah, it's all about vision. Really just believing that where you're trying to get, you can really be different.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. It's a diamond.
Thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of what's normal. So John gets his resume today. and he gets resumes all the time. I've never heard him call me or email me or chat me about someone's resume before, except somebody put in a really great letter. Nice letter, specifically written, not
I think it was
anything
specifically
special.
like
Stroking your ego, talking about the business though, knowing what they were writing about. It wasn't just like, hey,
Like he
you know,
did his
I
research.
Did his research. Not necessarily asking for bottles of whiskey, but pretty inventive. Maybe a little over the top, but this guy's not sending out 30 resumes with 30 bottles of whiskey. I seriously doubt that he can afford that. So, whether there's an opportunity now.
I use off the background.
Yeah, so, stuff like that, it's just simple in some ways, but when you're passionate and you really know where you want to go, thinking outside of the box is really what that means, just different.
Yeah, I think really going back to something that you said at the beginning is just doing your research. When you actually get an opportunity to sit down with somebody, make sure you know as much as you can beforehand. Don't sit down and if you have 10 minutes, you're going to be asking him the typical questions that you could have found out the answers to by doing a little bit of research. Like actually utilize that time that you get if you get it. So rather than sitting down with somebody saying, hey, tell me about your business, like you should already know that. And then you should like cite specific things going on with him and how you could probably help. That just being a lot more proactive rather than just sitting back and thinking things are going to fall into place.
So a little bit, we touched on this before JJ and John came. We were talking about being really highly informed, highly intelligent, creative artists. Remember I talked about it all around the globe, knowing who the labels, lawyers, managers, publishers, TV, film, in Finland, in Korea, in Denmark, and studying. And I told you this is part of the excitement and a student of the game and why I've been going to meetups and pop-ups and abstract and really working that database in advance and studying all their websites. And I look at it as a master class. It's my investment. It's a part of my demo. It's my investment into my career. So then when somebody says, oh, international market, Korea, well, okay, we can talk about Korea. In my office, I have 8 file cabinets, goes from, Austria to Zimbabwe. So you want to know who's throwing down in Korea? Well, I'll be happy to chat with you about that. I've met them. I got their cards, I got the brochures, I know who's legit, who's not. Not everybody, there's always new players coming in and out, but I feel pretty educated. I feel pretty educated having done this deep research. So that
you wouldn't move to Mexico if you didn't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same philosophy. Like, know what you're talking about, know the lingo, know the people. If somebody's talking about a major industry executive, you should be able to put the pieces together and know what
it makes the other side receive you more. They respect you more because they know that you're serious, you're focused, and you're ready to do business. You're ready to get the gig. You're all prepared. It's ready to do. If it is going to do, they know you're ready. If you come across that you're not that, whether you're a musician, you go to the session, pedal board's not right, the amp, 4 strings on the guitar, and you want the gig. You're not ready. You're not ready. You're not prepared for this opportunity. So, how has it been so far? Informative? Everything good?
Definitely.
We still have your attention. I know that we've been giving you a lot of information. You're absorbing a lot.
So, once that connection's made, like Coca-Cola wants this song, what does a contract is the contract between Coca-Cola and the artist, or is it between you and the artist?
Why we're so appealing to our clients is because all of the paperwork is worked out beforehand. Basically, every song we have in our catalog is completely pre-cleared. All the rights are already negotiated and talked about. And our artists pretty much give us the freedom to go get as much money as possible for their music. And up to this point, it's been great. Everybody's trusted us, and we'll land a $40,000 television commercial for an artist that's nobody's ever heard of, but we'll also land like a $100 web promo. So it kind of spans the globe and tends to equal out for artists and puts money in their pocket. So Yeah, everything is already negotiated beforehand, and we have the ability to sign off. That's how it works.
So the relationship is you have a relationship with music dealers, and music dealers have relationships with clients all around the globe. And so that's why their contract is really so definitive. It really tells you exactly, here's what we get, here's what you get, here's how we do business, if this works for you, give us the power to do so. And then there's a little bit more, I just want to say, in my knowledge about what JJ and John are about, and Eric and Billy and Dan, who was here last night, and several of the other crews that I've met, is that he laughed when he said middleman, diminishes, or, what are they called? Snakes, not snake seller, sightings, this sort of snake charm or snake oil salesman, yeah. It's not quite that. But I think what's going on here with this particular group and these particular two human beings is that they really have a heart for what's going on with you and the music and their companies in music. I mean, you heard John's story about, he's tasted the whole thing. Artists, gigs, shows, celebrity, touring. He's there. He understands it all. JJ might not have come from such a musician-y background, but he's been involved with the musician-ys. And like Vince, who I told you was coming tomorrow, and I think that was one of JJ's very best friends. Ira, who was here earlier. They're all friends together. So I think that the value of having a friendship or a relationship, and then possibly a business relationship with two guys like this, you get a lot of guidance. I mean, I'm working in the industry. I look at these as friends and colleagues, but guidance. I've learned a ton tonight, and I've heard a lot tonight. I've learned more about my friends, but I've also, this is a high level of interactivity, connectivity. So, yeah, you might get a placement, and that's great. You made some money, but what you want to get is a relationship. You want to be able to get a John or a JJ or an Eric, and be able to go have a sandwich together sometime and you share the goals and the visions, and then they say, oh, well, what about you do this or you do that? And then all of a sudden, more business happens. That's what you really want to get in the industry. Okay, we need to wrap it up. So let's do this. Let's do question 4 and 5, but they're just going to be answered in one sentence. Is that okay? Then everybody's satisfied. Question 4.
When working with an upcoming artist, what qualities do you look for? What checks you set artists?
Is that for me?
For any.
For anyone, okay. I'm looking for the kind of seriousness that John just described about that case scenario. People who are entirely focused, dialed in, having a career. And period. And then question 5.
Yeah, this is a more personal question for John. Like, you say you were like a hip hop fan or whatever. So like, and you like the early '90s stuff. Like, my favorite rapper is AZ. You must know him. Like, I would like to know, like, to me, he's the best MC ever in the world that ever happened in history. I have all his albums and everything. I want to know, like, why do you think it's a success? Like, what happened with him? Like, what is the thing that, like, with the labels dropping him and he not being as successful as I believe he is?
I mean, I can't answer in one sentence. I'm just going to talk really fast. Basically, you as a fan, you don't get to see all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is what's going to lead to success or not success. All the stuff that we continue talking about.